Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening or good night. This is Jen at Jen's Arty Inclinations, a place to create, share and play. Hello everyone, I'm just popping back into our Filling a Junk Journal series, and as I'm going through my book here, first of all I'm working out that I've got it upside down, so there we are, turn it all around the right way again, and just doing something nice and quick today where I'm putting on some page trims. So having a lovely time going through and just adding them to pages in different places. So this little one that I added, as I popped it in, I thought, oh, that'd be nice. I might just put in also a little single sheet. So tipping in a little sheet into that page trim as well. But these page trims, when I tear off the edges of papers and, book pages and music pages and coffee dyed paper, I often end up with a load of strips left over, and I'll tend to run them through the sewing machine, and it gives you a whole bunch of trims that are really quick and easy. Some I will ruffle, some I will just leave as is, and I just run them through the machine in big long strips or little short strips, depending upon, what mood I'm in. And then they're a nice, easy way to fill up a journal and to just add little touches to pages. I like this one. I use this lace a lot, and it's nice to have a few pieces that are just attached already, just through the sewing machine, onto coffee dyed paper or book page edges, and then they can do nice simple finishes as well. So as you can see, I'm just going by feel. There is no rhyme or reason, but doing these all the way through the journal, sometimes they're great when you're a bit stuck for ideas. You can grab some page trims and have a bit of a play. So, for instance, on this one, I often have these fold-in pages, and this is another way that you can almost finish that whole page, where add a little trim, and then there's something on the edge to actually lift up. And you'll see that I do some labels and so forth on that in a minute. But that's another way that you can use your page trims. They don't always have to be right on the edges. And they're great for edges on pockets and things like that sometimes as well. So here we are, just doing one on the bottom as a bit of a pocket, because I had a really narrow pocket in that book page, and the page trim just finishes it off really, really nicely. And add a bit of a label and it's done. Or you don't even need to add a label, but you can. So as we're going through, nice way, I love map pages, and it's nice to leave them alone sometimes and not do too much with them. So a page trim, again, is another way to do that. You can see how a lot of these are longer, and I'm just cutting them to size. So that works out quite nicely, and they don't have to go all the way up the page. Sometimes I'll just do a bit of a short one. So it's a really easy way to get things in your book. Now look, on this one, I'm using a page trim as a belly band on this page. So I've just glued it on the top and bottom in the middle of the page. So as you go through, sometimes you'll find you'll just play about with different ideas. So you're just doing the page trim, but you're doing different little bits and bobs as you go through. Here I've got my next piece. I'm just working out which page I'd like that on. And on this one, I left a little space in case I wanted to use it as a tuck. So I've only glued on the outside three edges and just left it as a really, really slim tuck. Tearing down some of my page trims because, some of them I'm playing about with them, and in some ways these papers, they've all sort of had a second use. So they had the first use with whatever I tore them off, and now they're getting a second use as page trims So any little bits left over, I feel a bit more comfortable about letting go of. Now on this one, I did another little tip-in page, and we're getting close to the end of the book here, playing a little bit more with some pockets, but some of the little really short pieces, like this bit I've cut off, they kind of become an instant cluster. So there I've just popped a cluster on that little pocket and it finishes it off, putting a bit of page trim across the top on the opposite page and, pulls it all in together. So then these will be easy pages for me to now go back to. And not only am I not having a blank page because I've got all the different papers in the journal, I'm also will find that I'll come up to the pages with the trims, and then that will give me a little bit more or a little bit less of a blank page is what I'm trying to say. It can add a little inspiration. Sometimes it will be the complete finish and I won't do anything else to the page, but other times it just sparks your creativity to just do something else as a little touch to finish off. And as I'm going through on these, I'm also then often adding a little label onto the trim, and that just gives a little focal point, and sometimes it just helps it feel a little bit finished. And it's such an easy thing to do. I mean, I'm a bit of a label nut. I just love all the different labels that we can get. So I'll do some of my own. I'll get ready-made. I'll buy digis and trim them all up. But I just really like what they add to your pages. Now, sometimes they're a great way not just to add a focal point, they're also sometimes a great way to add a little bit of colour or just lift something a little bit. And I love the vintagey feel of lots of the labels that we come across. So all I'm doing here is going back through, going to the trims, and I think I added a label to pretty much every single one. Different kinds of labels, into the edges before I pop them down. And then I really feel like we can get stuck into this journal again and keep filling it up and finishing it off. And it's interesting how you kind of just keep playing and eventually you start to feel like it's finished. That's the little belly band. So that little label cluster, I feel like that page will be pretty much finished once we put something in the belly band. And I did a couple of label clusters on a few more of them. There was the pocket that the trim didn't quite go to the edge, so a little label in the corner finishes it off nicely. This is the flip out, so just a lovely big circle label on that one, and that'll be, I think, really fun to play with when we get back to it. Aren't those ledger papers gorgeous in this? I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with those. So that'll be another little problem-solving exercise that we'll come across later. And I'd already done a label on that first one. So here, the final one, I thought I'd do a little photo on that one. So here we are. We'll have a quick look back through and I'll try and just grab out all the little pieces with the trims on, and you'll just get a little idea of how the book's coming together, and also looking at the different trims that we did. So they kind of feel like they're adding a bit of a theme through the book, even though some of them are quite different to each other, but they're a similar technique. So somehow they feel a bit cohesive together, and we're starting to get all these different pages pulled together. I love the junkiness of this book, and I like that it's a little bit smaller too, being in the old novel cover. That was a bit of fun. And yeah, so we'll definitely have some more fun getting stuck into this. With this series, we'll drop back in whenever we can, because I'd really like you to see the process that I go through just to completely finish it up. So that's all for today, and I will see you again really soon. I've got some flip throughs coming up. It'll be a bit of a flip through sesh. And then we'll try and get stuck back into some creating together again too. So take care. See you soon. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy.